Independence Day is an official Independence Day is an official day in which Nigerians celebrate Independence Day is an official public holiday in Nigeria, where the day is marked to celebrate its independence from the British rule on the 1st of October 1960, which automatically makes Nigeria 61 years today of its independence from the British protectorate. It is no news of all the happenings in the nation since its independence. Would you say Nigeria is truly independent? How would you rate the growth level so far? And measuring all that, what is your conclusion on factors influencing bad decisions and governance in Nigeria? This is the 1st October special with I, Magdalene Azal, focusing on general public's view on the state of the nation and how to make bad decisions from polls and regret later. I have two guests with me in the studio to make this discussion. By my left, I have Pastor Dele Adebayo. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. And by my right, I have J.K. Chris. You're welcome, sir.
It's a pleasure.
We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
We'll be starting this discussion this way with you, sir. As a citizen of Nigeria who has witnessed so many happenings in the country, what would you say is the state of the nation right now?
Thank you very much for having me. And you're very correct to say I have been around for a very long time. The state of the nation right now is nothing to be proud about, sincerely. It has been, by this time, at 61, we expect, so much more from the nation, from the country. We expect, by now we are stabilized, we're developing, we're actually moving forward. But what we have, at 61 is a kind of a stagnancy. It's not just even stagnation, it's like there's a kind of retrogression, we're moving backwards. By now we are supposed to have passed, the level where, people are killed at will. It's like the law is not working. I mean, it's just, virtually nothing is working if you look at it very well. Personally, we have, I'll share just a little experience with you. Some few years back, maybe I'm just responsible for my immediate family and just some few other people. But as at today, you won't believe how many people are asking for one help or the other. I mean, people that normally were fully employed, fully engaged, taking care of their own responsibilities, are now, asking for help. And, when I just threw it out in the open, I discovered that I wasn't the only one. Virtually everybody that, is working, just is a little bit employed, has a lot of people depending on him now. So if Nigeria is truly independent, we should have, a lot more, people also independent, at least financially. We're not talking about everybody becoming multimillionaires, but at least the average citizen of Nigeria at 61 should be able to take care of, their basic needs. So that's what I think about, the state of Nigeria today. For me, it's nothing to be proud about, and it's nothing to write home about. There's a need for a system overhaul completely.
Okay. All right. To you, Barrister, what would you say is the state of the nation?
Yeah, I can agree with him, and then I can also look at the reality on ground, the reality of Nigeria as it is. Nigeria as it is not Nigeria that was envisaged before the independence, even when our leaders clamor for independence. This is not the state at which they had envisaged the country to be 61 years down the line. What the country would have really loved to be is a country that is more stable than this, is a country that is more united than this. But the unfortunate thing, and why I think is we are faced with this situation, is because we keep recycling leaders. Leaders that were there close to the independence or close after the independence are still leaders that we still recycled, and then the old thinking is still there and all that. And these are people that has faced a lot of challenges, even as it were then. but they still maintain the same kind of ideology of trying to divide the country. The country ordinarily should be more united than this. The motto of the country is unity, peace, and progress. But as we all know, these things are eluding us at its ease. You find leaders, even in 21st century, 61 years after independence, leaders are still shopping for leadership in their zones, in their clusters, in their units and all that. So what we really expect, or what we would have loved to see, is a more united country, a more stable country, where the issue of the issue of basic amenities, something as minute as healthcare, that should be able to be available for every Nigerian. As it is, Nigeria 61 years down the line, we are still grappling with the challenges of healthcare, and then most especially the challenges of insecurity because of some level of insincerity of our leaders. We are still grappling with the issue of insecurity. This is not the Nigeria we envisaged. At the beginning, we thought the independence was going to bring a lot of unity, a lot of progress, a lot of development, and as you can see, even education is still a major challenge 61 years after independence. And most people that clamor for independence were people that were schooled in the outside the shores of this country. So what we are saying is the country is not where it should be, but what we are really grappling to come up with the reality about is whether we are better than where we are before the independence, or what, because we feel Nigeria was more peaceful before the independence, was more united, even though everyone was within his own protectorate and all that. But then the synergy is still there. But what we are seeing now is not what we really envisage, though we have not been there from the beginning of the independence. But those that were there had high hopes for the country. At 61, we are still grappling with a lot of challenges.
Okay, I'm still on you, sir, barrister. You know, you mentioned education, you mentioned the insecurity in this country, and you know, so many sectors, like if not all sectors in Nigeria, actually are facing a lot of challenges. And talking about educational sector, where you see students being adopted from schools like almost every day, and it has made some parents, you know, to be in a kind of state now. So many parents are traumatized, and so you know, so many parents are out there saying they are really scared for their children, and sometimes they don't even really allow their children to go to school because they don't know what will happen, because they don't really know what school will be attacked next. What would you say is your fear for the next generation?
Honestly, it's one of the main issues that I've been talking about, because it appears as if the enemies of this country are achieving their goal. The enemies of education. You know, we have a phenomenon in this country, a cankerworm. We have a situation in this country where a group of people, decide to rear their ugly head and decide to say they are against Western education. They are against the Western way of training children and all that. They prefer their own way of training children. And then it started gradually, and then the government has been giving the attack. The government have been tackling that issue. They have been tackling it with a lot of kid gloves, and it's building up, and then it appears as if they are achieving their aim. What is their aim? Their aim is to ensure that we are far from educating the next generation. We are far from educating the younger ones. Now, without education, we are going nowhere. So these people are out there to discourage younger ones, and even up to tertiary institutions. They are discouraging a lot of young people from going to school. If you go to most part of this country, especially the northwestern part of this country, a lot of parents now are not even comfortable sending their children to school because they are scared. And then the moment these children are kidnapped or adopted in their schools, parents have to go through a lot. In fact, to the point of disposing whatever they have to be able to secure their children. Now, it is a very, very dangerous trend, and it's a trend that we hope that the federal government and the various states government will take very, very seriously, because if you allow the fear of kidnapped, the fear of being adopted, to stop our children, to stop our younger ones from getting education, there is no future for the country. So the fear is that we are really mortgaging the future of this country by not allowing our children to go to school, by allowing these people to scare the children from going to school. The future is really bleak, because without education we are going nowhere. The world is now becoming a global village. The world is relying solely on education, people that are enlightened and all that. And then this is a situation where we find ourselves that children can no longer go to school. We still have quite a number of students in captivity, even as we talk, as it is. Students from secondary school, students from tertiary institutions that are still in captivity, and we don't know their fate. And that is discouraging a lot of children from school. If you know, states like Kaduna, Zamfara, Katsina, and the rest, quite a number of schools are shut down. And that is the aim of these enemies of our great state, Nigeria. So the advice is that for government to properly secure the next generation, they should do whatever it takes to nip this cankerworm in the bud and ensure that our schools are safe. And that will guarantee the future.
Of course. To you, Pastor, with everything that we have talked about, what do you think are the contributing factors to this disturbing situation in the country?
There are so many, factors responsible for the situation. A number of important things seem not to be taken seriously, like the barrister said. Education was never taken seriously generally. Even when the country was more stable, the content of our education was not really preparing people to be productive, to be progressive. It was just like the same colonial system was continued, and the colonial system was actually to educate us so that we can take instructions, right? So, but apart from this, he also mentioned disunity. The people that felt that they should agitate and they fought for the independence of Nigeria. They saw a united Nigeria developing, becoming an advanced state and all that. But I think they never took into consideration the fact that we are diverse people, and our leaders down the years have not been able to unite us. We are divided on tribal, levels, religious levels, and all other kind of stuff. And then, honestly, I would still really want to go back to the education thing, because it's something that also touches my heart.
Yeah.
Now we have a country. You yourself can look at it and know that it will not work. There is no way it will work. We have federal character, we have quota system. No, and I know that the people who thought out these things, they meant well, really. They wanted to carry everybody along, right? But at a point in time, they needed to have sat down and thought about it and said, no. The moment you say that if somebody from a part of Nigeria gets 50%, he gains admission. Somebody from another part of Nigeria must get 80% before he gains admission. You know what you are saying? You are already creating an inequality. What you are saying in effect is that this man is better than this man. So what kind of a country is that? Nothing will work. And then you know what? The person that you are expecting 80% from gets to know about it. He begins to go down to the level of the 50% person. And so a lot of things are, just messed up. Then apart from this, there is also, now I'm going to say this from the perspective of a pastor. That's my constituency. Now, I look at the state of Christianity also. Now, we are the light of the world.
Yes.
And so we should be light of Nigeria. We're the salt of the earth. We should be the salt of Nigeria. Then I ask myself, are we really the light of Nigeria, or what are we? Because if we are, and in fairness to the church has shown a lot of light. Hospitals, schools, name it. It's, the church is in leadership. But of course there are terrible forces that are hindering the church, from moving forward. But now my point is this: yes, The Bible clearly tells us that I will build my church and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. So if we have that understanding, we are not discouraged. You know, we keep forging ahead, we keep shining the light. Because it's easy for us to blame all sorts of things, but not ourselves. Our practice basically must also be progressive, not, you know, retrogressive, not destructive in any way. That's I'm talking about my constituency, the church. And so if we that are called, you know, by the name of the Lord, we understand, you know, these things, that we're not just Christians. Now I want to take note of this thing that I'm about to say. It is easy for me to say, hey, be nice, and I'm not nice.
Definitely.
Right. So what I'm saying is that we as Christians, we must be an embodiment of the message that we carry, that we preach. If we say Jesus Christ is Lord, they must see the Lordship of Jesus Christ in our lives. And I believe that this will be the catalyst or the little leaven that will leaven the whole lump that is called Nigeria. It doesn't matter the amount of the darkness. The Bible says the light, you know, shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. And if we will understand, you know, the development from the perspective of light, which is quality education, quality life, you know, quality relationships, and understanding all these things, I tell you, it will contribute immensely. And in fairness to the church has really tried.
You know, you said so many things in line with one of our spiritual fathers. You know, on one of the programs he did on Equa Television, that's the Church and Society. That's Professor Yusuf Turaki. You know, he brought out some very key points that I would like people out there to actually see. So we'll be playing a clip from him. He said a lot of things about the state of the nation, and you know, it really made sense to me. So I said, let's just, you know, watch it and see what he said. And when we come back, we'll now analyze on the video and everything he has said about the state of the nation. Let's go for a break now and watch our father in the Lord, Professor Yusuf Turaki, on Church and the Society. We'll be right back.
Our early politicians did not see or sit down to say, how do we recreate a nation based upon national values? Okay. What brings us all together into a common entity called Nigeria? They didn't do that. What they did was they went back to their ethnic cocoon, regional cocoon, religious cocoon, and what they did is to project their ethnicity into the public arena. That's the public arena of Nigeria. Into the public square called Nigeria. They want to project their religion into the public. And they want to project their region so that they can become dominant. So the attitude, or yes, the attitude of dominance. We want to dominate Nigeria. Okay? Now, this attitude of dominance is still present with us. We didn't correct it at independence. It's still with us. For example, the Fulanization of Nigeria, the attempt to Fulanize Nigeria, so that they become what? The dominant ethnic group. Okay? What about the religions? They want to create religions of dominance, that we have a dominant religion. So that is what we miss at independence. We didn't create a national ethic. We didn't create national ethical structure. We didn't create national values, national ideals, national standards to moderate, to control, and to call every sector of Nigeria to order if they go beyond, if they go against our common values as a nation. So we didn't have that, and that was our problem. After that, we lack what I will call transformational political leaders. Political leaders that are to transform to develop what? To develop Nigerians as people. An individual in Nigeria needs to be developed so that that individual will acquire his or her potentials as a human being. God has endowed every human being with great potentials. And that is what we were supposed to focus on, what? On developing a Nigerian to acquire his or her full potentials.
You have heard different angles to this topic, the state of the nation, and our phone line is now on. You can call us and make your own contribution also, because this is a segment where we get to hear different views on the state of the nation. So call us and make your contribution as the program goes on. You know, most often after elections, so many people have different regret statements and or about the whole maybe the process, and then maybe they were being promised a lot of things, but still yes, they were not given that what they were promised on, and all those things. So you so as you see, at the end of the day, people just bring out so many regret statements. I regret being part of this failed government. I regret being I regret what my vote has caused upon my people, and those things. What do you think actually prompted that kind of statement?
Yeah, because there was no preparation, and there is no responsibility. There is a citizen's responsibility. Basically, if you hear, what people say, whether we vote or not, they know who will win. The moment you make that statement and somebody believes that statement, you absolve yourself of the responsibility of installing our leaders. And that should not be, the case. There are some people, they don't even go to vote because they say, we know who will win. And the moment you do that, you are abdicating your responsibility as, a serious electorate. The reason why we enter into altars of regrets after, our elections is because, you were not part, of the system in the first place. Every citizen has a responsibility to do what? For me also, like I said earlier, to seek the face of God. And if you are not that kind of a person, you owe it to yourself to do your due diligence. Hey, these are the candidates. In fact, find a way to be part of the people that nominate people. But we leave it to some people. Who do we leave it to? People who are selfish, and like Prof was saying, what do we have? A lot of people who have believed, in the, they have some kind of idea that they must dominate wherever they find themselves. And then, before you know what's happening, we leave the political space for this kind of people. And what do you have? It's not as if they even have any, transformative, ideas to bring to the table. Then when they come in, of course, there will be regrets. So what I think, and that's what I have been living my life. You must do your due diligence of all of these people. Who actually qualifies to be the governor of this state, the president of this place? I ask God, can you show me? And if you're not, that kind of godly person, you do your research about all the candidates. Then after you have done that, we go to the street, we go around. What do you think about this candidate? Hear other people's opinions. So when we do this, we put all of this together. When the time for election comes, we actually go out.
I'm sorry for cutting you. We have a caller already on the show.
All right, sure.
Hello, go on and make your call. Oh, we lost the caller. You can go on. Right.
So we have, we have to do some kind of awareness, and it's part of the education that Barrister mentioned earlier. Now, if the leadership understands this, so they keep us in ignorance. And so we don't even know what our rights are. We don't know that, we are supposed to be the people to bring these people in. We are supposed to be the people to take them out. We shouldn't regret for more than 4 years.
Okay, we have a caller. Hello. Hello, can you hear us? Hello, you're welcome to the show. Make your contribution. Okay, we can't hear the caller. Sorry for cutting, but I have to go to the barrister now. You know, we watched a video from the prof, and he mentioned a lot of things. He mentioned things that our early politicians didn't do, and things that our politicians right now are not doing, which is recreating Nigeria. When Nigeria received her independence, you know, they didn't recreate Nigeria for the benefit of everyone. You know, most times they do it because of their own benefit or people around them. And he now talked about we lack transformational leaders, those people who are coming now, who are supposed to, you know, do what the early politicians didn't do, but they are still, like, it is more like it is still the same train that is taking them along. What do you think politicians should do now to recreate Nigeria?
To start with, it's very important to know that leadership is a role performance, and then it's a role performance of some duration. You perform your role, just like a stage. You perform your role and you give way, and then you must have legitimacy to be a leader. Leaders will have to get legitimacy, and where would they derive such legitimacy? Is from the people they govern. But what we can say is that yes, the prof is right, but we must also take cognizance of the fact that the country itself was built on really shaky ground. The ground wasn't so solid for the country to really come into place. If we all remember from history that we read, there was some part of the country were ready for the independence, some were not too ready. So it was like going back and forth and all that. So at the end of the day, we all agree that yes, we are going to have the independence in 1960, as it were, and we have it. And then even after the independence, if we listen to statements of leaders, the way leadership has been, it has been a regional thing. We have not really agreed to make it a Nigerian thing, a more united thing. Leadership from the one has always been a regional thing. If you hear those that even fought for the independence, like Ahmadu Bello and then the Sardauna and the rest of them, if you hear their statements, if you go to the north, you will hardly be engaged in any venture, whether you are qualified or not. And if you go to the south, the same thing. So the integration wasn't there. We did not really negotiate to come together as it is. The negotiation was faulty. I feel we are just amalgamated for conveniency. We are just amalgamated for economic benefit. We are just amalgamated for the sake of it. Not really coming together, agree on terms. There are no really clear terms of this union, and that is why we have a shaky background, and then it keeps rising from then up to now. The kind of leaders we have now, they are mostly sectional leaders. If you look at it critically, whoever is in power will concentrate on his region. If you have a southerner in power today, most of the juicy appointment, the so-called juicy appointment, and most of the key positions will go to the south. If you have a northerner in government, just as we have now, virtually everything, you know, ranging from security, from the economy, everything, every sensitive office in this country is controlled by the northerners. Now, irrespective of whether there are qualified people in the south or not, our leaders today do not consider that, and that is what we call not reinventing Nigeria, as the prof has said. If we truly want to reinvent Nigeria, even though the foundation was shaky, the foundation was not too solid, the negotiation wasn't there, but we can still come up with creative ideas and say, okay, look, since we have decided that yes, we have come to stay, we have come to remain, the leaders will now be creative and said, how do we give and take? How do we carry everyone along? How do we share this power? Not the situation of winner takes all and loser lose everything. We need to find a way of, you know, share and balance this power. We have several provisions, even in our constitution, the federal character and all that, the power sharing and all that. The constitution said now power will be shared, evenly, and then everyone will be carried, every segment of Nigeria will be carried alone. But we are not seeing. Reverse is the case. So these are the dominant tendency that Prof is talking about. Because I'm in government, I want my people to benefit, and then it translates even down to the state and local government. We have seen a great level of nepotism in the national government and even in the regional government. So the drive to unite Nigeria is not there, and then the kind of leaders we are making, we are creating a kind of leaders with the mindset that, look, you have to empower your people. Leadership now is all about empowerment. For you to come, empower your people, make your people rich. The moment my brother or my relation becomes a governor or whatever it is, I will change my lifestyle. Even if I'm not working, I'm not engaged, I will be flamboyant and all that. We rely so much on free money and all that, and that is why we are not creative enough to reinvent Nigeria.
Of course. And I also think one of the factors that is actually causing all these things in Nigeria is godfatherism. Just the way you mentioned, it is more like the people that have been there are still here. And even if you don't see them surfacing, still yet they are still there on the ground, because they will it's more like they have a book on how to play it. Most times you would see somebody is on a seat, but he's not actually the person that is ruling Nigeria. Another person elsewhere is the one ruling everything. So most times you would see that things are not moving on well, and the person doesn't even have any say. You are in power, but you don't have any say, anything to do when things are going wrongly. So we really, really need to, change all these things. We need to change this mentality of having the old people still on power or in power, ruling us. We have some comments on Facebook, so I would like us to take the comment. We have someone, Wambana says, the state of the nation is too bad to be at 61, except for the political class. Nothing is going on in Nigeria. And we have from Israel Daniel, who said, twice my voter's card has been sold to someone which made me disenfranchised. It was truly painful. Do we really have a system that works? That's a question, because I have had so many friends that experienced that. These are all the things that are really happening. We keep saying we want to change Nigeria, but still yet you would see that the things that are happening are still happening. Nothing has changed. Nothing is moving. It's more like we just keep giving promises and nothing will happen. But I don't think it's only from the people that we elect. We also, we vote people, we elect people, and we are not, doing so well. When you talk about time for election, you would see people doing a lot of things that is not okay. But, most times, when we went on the street asking people questions, so many people said sometimes these people are being left vulnerable. They don't have any choice when it comes to life. So anytime the politicians come and give them, even if it's 500 naira or whatever they give them, you would see them doing so many things that are actually not correct, and they know that is not going to favor them in any way. But they'll be like, since it's favoring me now, somebody is giving me small money, I will just collect it and I will work with it. So it's really, really bad. And when you talk about the young people in Nigeria, which most times, the politicians use them to do this kind of acts, like the violence act and all those things that are happening during elections. You will see some people who come pick up the ballot box and then go with so many things happening and all that. So we really, really need to make things work for Nigeria. But how can we actually make things work for Nigeria, Barrister?
Yes. The promise is that we should not be despair, we should not give up, we should keep hope alive, we should continue to engage the younger ones in discussion, we should continue to teach them, we should continue to learn. There is every hope at the end of the tunnel. The future is greater and is brighter as the promises of God. Whatever we do, we know that it's not going to be easy, but by the time we keep engaging ourselves like this and then we keep talking, we will reduce the level of godfatherism. Why we have so much vices and so much instability is because the wealth is resides solely on certain individuals. You know, the distribution of wealth is so uneven that a lot of people that are supposed to be in the middle class, that is what we are missing, and that is why we have so much problems. We do not have the middle class in Nigeria. We only have the have and then the have not. You know, if you want to be rich in this country, you are extremely rich, and then if you are poor, you are extremely poor. Now, by the time we begin to create the middle class, who are the middle class? If we have people that go to school, people that graduate from higher institutions, and then they are given jobs. They are working in industries, they are working in companies, they are gainfully employed. If you have chunk of the population, most surely the younger people, that are gainfully employed, that can be sure of a meal or two, they can be sure that yes, they will have something to eat at the end of the day. The rate of gangsterism, the rate of godfatherism will definitely reduce, will be brought to a barest minimum. But what is obtainable now is that the younger people are not being employed. There are even no opportunities for them to be employed. We don't have the industries in the country. The industries are always going down, and then the government cannot employ everyone. The whole of Nigerian civil service cannot even employ more than 500,000 people, so to say. And then if you add all the state government, at least people that might be in payroll of government cannot be up to 1 million or so. Now, what happened? The key drivers of the economy are the private sector. If you encourage the private sector, create an enabling environment where you have industries and factories that are producing. We are a consuming nation, and that is the major problem we have. We consume without producing. By the time you decide deliberately to make Nigeria a producing country, we produce what we consume, and then we produce even to export. You create job for quite a number of young people, and then if you have let's say population of Nigeria is about 200 million. If you have a stable population of 50 million, so to say, that are gainfully employed, that are doing well, that do not rely on any politician for their meal and all that. I have interacted with quite a number of politicians. Even today, I was in a politician's house. If you see the number of youths that are there waiting for him to dash you 1,000 to 2,000, it's amazing. And
anything he
says, they are more than 50 that I saw with my eyes that came in and all that. So that is how they live. They don't have any source of livelihood. And then it will shock us it will not be surprising to find out most of them are even graduates. I know quite a number that are graduate. They have gone through the four walls of the higher tertiary institutions, but the system cannot absorb them. You graduate, you are 5 years, 10 years, 15 years without employment. So how do you expect to live? The only way you have to do is to engage in gangsterism or ballot box snatching and all that, so that the politician will continue to give you peanuts. So our leaders must be deliberate to create the middle class. By the time you have middle class, you then will be able to guarantee that yes, we are going to elect the right kind of leadership that will reinvent Nigeria, that will make Nigeria great, so that at 100, if the Lord tarries and we are still here, or those that will still be here will not come back and still be lamenting that yes, at 100 we are still there, we are still not Uhuru yet. We are hoping and we are really praying that God should help us. But then I really want to encourage the younger people, mostly people that are much younger. They are in the age of decisions, they are in the age of responsibility, that they should not despair. We should not give up hope on this country. We should keep working hard and see, as long as this country exists, that at the end of the day we'll have a very stable country where the son of nobody can be somebody.
Of course. Yes. Pastor, you mentioned something about people not going out to vote because they feel like even if the vote is not going to count. And this reminds me actually of, one of the Vox Pop we had on the street, the interview we had on street, and then somebody was saying something about the fact that even if they vote, they are, even if the vote is not going to count, you see people being under the sun, under the rain, just for them to vote, but still yet it doesn't count. But still another person was saying, let's vote no matter what it is. Let's go out and vote. People really need to go out and vote. It doesn't matter. But you know, sometimes the problem is that we vote without praying. We forget that this the life generally is spiritual. We don't go spiritual before voting. We go spiritual when things are bad. You know, that's when we'll now go, you know, people are praying to God, this thing is happening, why is God not hearing us? When we were supposed to go spiritual even before, you know, going to vote. So what is the church, you know, doing to sensitize its members about elections?
Yeah, I think the word is sensitize, you know, create a lot of awareness, you know, but the awareness must first of all be created, you know, amongst the leadership of the church. You know, because I don't know where we got, you know, this idea from, that the church is completely apolitical. It's not our business. Our own is to pray. But the truth of the matter is that the church cannot remove itself from the politics. We may not be directly doing it, but we must, you know, create awareness amongst, you know, the membership of the church. The time has come for the church to be very, very proactive. As a matter of fact, you know, sponsor candidates. There are a lot of Christians that are, you know, in politics, but we don't know their churches. You know why? Because it wasn't the business of the church or the activity of the church that took them there. They are just Christians who find themselves in politics. But the time has come for the church to be deliberate about these things. We actually adopt candidates. We promote them amongst ourselves. Yes, we may not go out there and do whatever, but church members are also part of the electorate. So in our, you know, little corner, for instance, we create awareness. It's your right, it's your responsibility to vote and be voted for as a Nigerian. And whether the like you said, vote will count or not, it's your duty to do it. But then we also point out, you know, the recent case of the last election in Edo State that brought in or that returned the present governor. The people made up their minds that they were going to have that person, and everybody went out. And what did they have? The person they wanted. This, you know, I remember, you know, our present president saying that protect your vote, stay, you know, we sometimes those of us who go to vote, we vote and we leave the place in a hurry, and we go and sit down, and when they steal the box, all of us begin to shout, hey, they have stolen the boxes again. You know, but there is, you know, we are not going to be there, you know, to promote any kind of violence. We're going to be, you know, within the presence of the law, but at the same time, you know, there is a way that we make our presence felt that no, you can't do this. And on the other side, you know, we keep that awareness going on. There is no need for you to go snatch ballots. I was with, you know, some young people. Now, how much do they give to you for that thuggery? And like you said, look, in my village, most of the thugs then are graduates. So how much did they pay you? And guess what? These guys, they gave them only 5 bags of rice. So until another 4 years before they get another 5 bags of rice. How many of them? So the people that gave you 5 bags of rice, what do they have? Millions of naira. Their children are abroad. You are here. So let's open up, you know, let's open up these things to, you know, our young people. You're losing. You're losing, and some of you lose your lives. For what?
Nothing.
Right. And, you know, like we said it the other time, you know, like he said, people, you can't even go to school. Even if you go to school, there is no job. How can you give a graduate who has a job 500 naira to go and vote for somebody? He won't. But somebody is looking for 500 naira to just go, you know, to write, you know, eat something. At least, okay, me too, I chop for Nigeria. You understand? So these are, you know, the situation, you know, that we found ourselves. But, you know, primarily, I think a lot of sensitization should be made. and not, now, when we start our sensitization to the end of 2022, when we are near the election time. But the moment one election is rounding up, they have declared the winners and the losers, awareness begins. This is, so, it's a learning process. So like for us, let every election time be a learning time. Okay, this is what we did wrong. This is what we shouldn't repeat. Because now we don't understand that we don't have to regret. Our misery should only be 4 years. After 4 years, we should have the understanding that we can also change these people again. And if we keep, the pressure on, eventually the system will yield to the pressure. But if we keep, hiding in our rooms, I'm not going, or I go, I don't defend it, I don't, do something to say, no, that's not, how we voted. The dominant, the domination will continue. I'll keep, the circle of poverty, thuggery, violence, death, and poverty, going on.
Let's take the Vox Pop that I was talking about so that we'll see what the people are saying.
What will happen is people will line up there and cast their vote, and after casting, the sun will beat them there, rain will beat them there, and after all, that person they want is not the particular people they will give they will take as a winner.
Thank you. Pertaining the election of 18, our people normally stay at home. They don't normally come out to vote. Come and vote. Come and vote the person in your heart, the person you want to vote. My Bible said that when the righteous are on the throne, the people rejoice. But when the wicked are there, is the opposite side of it. And that is what is happening in the country. Thank you.
Is what we were talking about. No matter what it is, we really need to come and vote. It doesn't matter what it is, but we should, sometimes the situation in Nigeria makes it look like we Nigerians are counterfactual in nature, because most times we know the right thing to do but we would not do it, and then we'll just do something else and come and regret it at the end of the day. So we really need to stop doing the wrong things repeatedly, and God is going to help us definitely. So before we go on the show, I would like you to give your recommendations to people out there.
My recommendation to people out there, the very first thing, do not lose hope. Like my brother said, there is light ahead of of us at the end of the tunnel. The first thing that puts us at a disadvantage is hopelessness. If there is anything that I will repeat and repeat and repeat, is that we should keep hope alive, keep being hopeful. That's the very first thing. And the very second thing is this: let everything that we do be a learning process. We they call some of us graduates, and if you believe that you're a graduate and you are finished, then sorry for you. We keep learning. Every election is a learning time. In that, and the next 4 years is also a learning time. And when you learn, then you know what to do. There are actions that you can take. But if you look at us, for as long as I've been, voting, I have not seen any learning. It's like things are getting worse. But out there, I want you to keep up, your hope. That's number one. Then number two, learn. Let us learn. We made this mistake last time. We will not repeat that mistake this time.
Definitely. So in just a few seconds, please.
Okay, thank you very much. The message to most especially the younger people is get involved, participate, be responsible, get your voter's card, participate in election process, vote, and ensure that leadership that you desire is on the throne. And to the leadership, there should always be time for governance and politics, and that is what will help Nigeria. Thank you.
Definitely. And to the leaders out there, it is high time we stopped doing things for just our selfish interest. We should put people in minds. We should try to develop people. We should try to, make people learn, inspire people, and make them to do more and become more of themselves. Please, we need to do so. Happy Independence Day celebration, Nigeria. Have a great day.